What is up guys, it's Scott here for Rebellious Noise, and if you're like me, you're a little disappointed that the Euros aren't taking place this year. But I thought it might be a little bit of fun if we went through a little bit of a wall chart predictor and see who would have won Euro 2020 if it was taking place at a scheduled time. As you know, Euro 2020 has been delayed to Euro 2021. Who knows what name they're going to run with, but what we know at the moment at least is that it's not taking place this summer. So I thought it'd be a good idea to imagine who might have actually won it. Now this is going to be based on recent form, previous tournament history, and the teams that would have probably been selected. If you haven't already, go back and watch Dan's video on his 23-man England squad. Obviously Southgate didn't name his England squad, so Dan's done it. Based on, again, recent form and things like that, and who might have made it back from injury, who would have been dropped from the World Cup squad. So check that out. I'm basically going to be using Dan's squad as my England squad when I think about the England predictions. Right, so first off, we will start in Group A. To be fair, Group A is one of the tougher ones. Turkey, Italy, Wales and Switzerland. Now, with the Euros, as you might know already, the best third place teams will go through as well. So I'm going to pick my third place teams and then later on pick which ones are the best. But with Group A, I'm saying top of Group A is Italy. They've been improving more and more in recent years after missing out on the World Cup. But it looks like Italy are back with a bang, and I really feel like this summer could have been a significant tournament for them. With the qualifiers, they lost none of their games, won every single one of them and went through top of their group. In second place, I'm going to put the Nations League bronze medal winners, Switzerland. Now Nations League was a great tournament, really helped fill that gap I think as far as major national tournaments, and go back and watch our episodes of Goal Hanging where we rant and raved all about it. Anyway, I feel like Switzerland are going to be going through second of this group.
Now Turkey had a really good qualifying campaign to be fair, finishing just 2 points behind France in their qualifying group, but I do think that this group is going to be much harder to navigate. You might recall that Wales had an incredible Euro 2016 and then ended up missing out on the World Cup. Well, I think this is their time to shine once again and grab that third spot.
Moving on to Group B, which is Denmark, Finland, Belgium and Russia. Now, top of this group, surely it's got to be Belgium. Now every major tournament people say, is this Belgium's time? We'll talk about that later, but I do see them topping this group. Now behind them, I actually thought this was quite tricky. I was toying between Denmark and Russia. Obviously Russia had a really good World Cup, but was that just a home soil thing? You know, have they really been proven enough since then? Whereas Denmark have actually done well in the Nations League and did well in their qualifying games. So I went with Denmark in second place, Russia in the third. Sadly, Finland are going home. Okay, now Group C, this is the first group that's not actually complete yet, because not only did the Euros get moved, but the playoffs for the Euros and their final spots got moved as well. So I'm going to pick who I think would have probably jumped in at the last minute with those final spots. So with that being said, Group C looks like the Netherlands, Ukraine, Austria, and my playoff winners that would be joining this group, just for argument's sake, Bulgaria. Right, so top spot, the Netherlands. Much like Italy, they are climbing back to the higher grounds of international football. It's been a shame not seeing the Netherlands at the last Euros, at the last World Cup, but they really impressed again in qualifying and in the Nations League, getting all the way to the final. Topping this group will be the Netherlands, but coming in second, I think, will be the Ukraine. Ukraine as well, very impressive in their qualifying matches. So impressive, in fact, they actually topped the group over Portugal, obviously the Nations League winners and the most recent Euros winners. So they did all right in that group. So I'm thinking they're going to do all right here, and they won't quite top it, but they'll come second. Third place, I'm going to go with Austria, coming in second place in their qualifying group, just behind Poland. I think Austria are going to snatch the third place spot in this group. Okay, we're on to another group where there's going to be a bit of fantasy booking here, and that is the fourth spot in the group, going to Scotland. Right, a little bit of Euro 96 action here, where we're going to get England and Scotland in the same group at Wembley. Now, I was toying between Serbia and Scotland here, but you know, I'm going to go with Scotland just for the fairy tale, and we'll see how it goes. Right, with that being said, I actually think it's going to be Croatia that top this group. Croatia obviously had a fantastic World Cup, getting all the way to the final after knocking out England, and I think they're going to continue that run here. All right, they didn't have the best Nations League, but it wasn't too bad either. To be fair, they were in a group with a vengeful England and a resurgent Spain. So it was a bit of a tough one for them, but I think they're going to lift their spirits and get back on top form for this competition. That being said, third place, sorry Scotland, you're not going through. For me, it's the Czech Republic. Czech Republic, again, in recent years have been one of those good solid teams, and I think they are going to take that third spot. Okay, that brings us into Group E, where I think another team back on the rise is Spain. I think Spain are going to be top in this group, a group that sees them go up against Sweden, Poland, and again, a fourth place that hasn't been determined yet, but I'm going to go with Republic of Ireland. I think that we're going to have an all-Irish playoff final. I can see the Republic of Ireland narrowly edging it. With that being said, I think it is Spain flying through the top of this group, and then in second place in the group, for me, it's going to be Sweden. Third place is going to be Poland, and then bottom of the group, sadly, will be the Republic of Ireland. Okay, now we come to Group F, the group of the F. Whoever I choose to go into this group from the playoffs is not going to have a good time. But I'm going to go with a team that had the best record in the qualifying stage, and that would be North Macedonia. Sorry, I guess, because you will be going up against Germany, France, and current European champions Portugal. Okay, now this is a tough group, not just for North Macedonia. It's going to be tough for all of them. Obviously, Germany haven't been that great in recent years. They didn't have the best World Cup. One of the bigger teams that went out early on. But saying that, they are Germany, and they do bring out a few surprises when you don't expect them to. Last minute free kick, for example. Performances like that, I can imagine pushing them back through to the top. Saying that, alongside them, like I say, is European champions Portugal, who obviously as well recently won the Nations League. And then you've got World Cup champions France. So, with all that being said, North Macedonia, top in the group. Okay, not really. France are top in the group. Second is gonna be Portugal. A lot of people say they have been riding their luck on top of just having Ronaldo in the squad. But as we talked about on Talking Beans with the 2016 recap of the Euros, you kind of need a little bit more than just one star player. And they obviously did the job when it came to the Nations League as well. Now, I don't think they're going to go all the way, spoiler alert, but I do think just the way Germany have slipped up in recent years and the way that Portugal can pull it out of the bag when people don't expect them to, I feel like they will be grabbing that second spot after the world champions, France. Now, don't forget though, Germany still have a chance here because we've got the best third place teams to go through as well. So the best third place team, I think, is going to be Germany. Second best will be Poland, third best Austria, and fourth best, getting that last spot into the round of 16, Wales. Which means goodbye to Russia and the Czech Republic. Sorry. Moving on to the round of 16. Now this is where it's going to get really tasty because I'm using the predictor wall chart that would actually coincide with the real positions and the real groups and the real standings and things like that. So if you've topped this group, you will be facing second from this group and so on and so forth. That is what I'm going to be using here. So with that being said, this is how it would go down. First up, we have Italy versus Ukraine. Now, like I said, Italy, I think, are climbing their way back up the international ranks, and I think Italy are going to be on a mission to impress here, and I think they'll be knocking out Ukraine moving into the quarters. The second round of 16 match would be Switzerland versus Denmark. Again, Switzerland impressed quite a bit in the Nations League, and I think they're going to have just enough to see Denmark pack in their bags. Next up, we've got Belgium and Poland. Now, is this the point where Belgium stumble? No, Belgium are going through over Poland. Now, the next tie is one I would have dreamed of. So I'm glad the predictor has worked out this way. We've got the Netherlands versus Germany, two fierce rivals, both with a point to prove. And I think this time round, it would have been the Netherlands going through. I think they are rising up the ranks, much like Italy, two teams that have been disappointed in recent years, and so have Germany, to be fair. But I feel like Italy and the Netherlands are rebuilding at a much steadier pace. Okay, so next up is England. Now, obviously, this is being played on home turf for England, the matches that they currently have set anyway. So if things continue the way they were booked to be in 2020, then that is going to be the way for 2021, and England are going to have a strong advantage. Like I said, I don't think they're going to top their group. I think it's going to be a little bit tough. We know what England are like in the group stages. It doesn't always go to plan. But when it comes to the round of 16, I think England are going to turn it on, and much like the World Cup in 2018, it will be Sweden that end up packing their bags after a matchup against the English. Next up, we've got France versus Austria, and I think it will be the world champions going through to the next round. And then we've got Spain facing off against Wales. Maybe it's a chance for Gareth Bale to stick two fingers up at a certain portion of Real Madrid fans here, but maybe not. I think it's going to be Spain going through. And the last round of 16 match was actually the toughest one to predict. Croatia versus Portugal. We've got the semi-finalists from the World Cup versus the current European and Nations League champions. I do think Portugal kind of ride their luck sometimes, as mentioned earlier, and I do think that Croatia are going to have a point to prove, building off of that incredible success at the World Cup. I think Croatia are going to pull what some might consider to be an upset, and they're going to go through. That brings us to 4 quarterfinal matches, and starting off with, it's going to be a lot of big ones, guys. England versus France. Is football coming home? Can they at least get to the semis like they did in Euro 96? If it maps out the way I'm looking at it, I don't think so. Now, I can't wait to be out in the sun, hopefully, both those things really, and just having the time of my life watching England matches, just like we did in the World Cup 2018. I was looking forward to the Euros so much, and I really do think that the games being spread around Europe the way they have been planned, and the majority, or if not all, of England's games being at Wembley Stadium, it's a real chance for England to capitalise on the success of the youth coming through, the success of getting to the semi-finals of the Nations League, the semi-finals of the World Cup. I do think this could be an incredible stepping stone for England. I'm not saying they can't win the Euros, but going up against France, it's not going to be easy. And I think France are just going to have to brush England aside here, much like they probably would have done in a World Cup final, let's be honest. Next up, 2 teams with a chip on their shoulder, Belgium versus Italy. Now Belgium, again, this whole golden generation thing, it's been plaguing them for a long time now. Some would argue that time has passed. And I would say the World Cup was, I don't know, might look back on this and they're European champions. But right now, I'm saying the World Cup seemed to have been their last opportunity. Sorry, Belgian fans. But I do think Italy, however, are going to continue that rise like I've been explaining, and they're going to knock Belgium out. That moves us into the Netherlands versus Switzerland. 2 teams that did very well in the Nations League, but one of them is doing even better in the Euros, and for me, that is the Netherlands going through, knocking out Switzerland. And then we get to our last quarterfinal, Spain versus Croatia. Now, Spain didn't have the best World Cup either. Croatia did. But Spain had a pretty decent Nations League. So when you look at the group stage, you had England, Spain, and Croatia. Very tough group. Somehow, England made it through, top. Then we had Spain, then we had Croatia, and I think it's going to be the same again. Spain over Croatia. Which brings us to the semi-finals of this imaginary Euro 2020. That will see two classic European matches here. The kind of matches that you could look on, you know, when you look back on certain Euros and World Cups, you go, yeah, that makes sense if those are the semi-final matches. First off, we've got France versus Italy, a rematch to that infamous 2006 World Cup final. This time, Italy's going through again. I think, like I say, Italy really have a point to prove, and not losing a single qualifier. Look, I know it can happen and it can mean nothing sometimes. Look at England a few years ago. Look at all the hopes that were built up. But I really do think that Italy are onto something here. Now that might sound mad because France are the world champions and they don't look like they're slowing down that much. They had a few hiccups since the World Cup, but nothing major. But as we know, you know, football is just, on your day, anyone could beat anyone. And I'm not saying the gulf is that big between these two teams, because I really don't think it is anymore. But that being said, France probably would be the favoured team for most people. But I'm going to go with a triumphant route to the final for the Italians. Now, meeting the Italians is going to be another team. Like I said, I keep talking about this rise for the Dutch and for the Italians. And we've got the Dutch facing off against Spain. Now, another World Cup final rematch from 2010 this time. Will it be Spain going through, or will it be the Netherlands? Now, for me, I think the Netherlands are going to do this. I've been so impressed with the Netherlands in recent years. They really gave us a spanking in the Nations League semi-finals, and they did really well to get out of that group, to get top of that group. After all the doubts that people had about them, they proved people wrong. They were in a group against France and Germany. It don't come much harder than that. And then they went on to beat semi-finalists from the World Cup, England. And then they fell to the final hurdle. But they did get to that final. And I'm saying they're going to do it again. I don't think Spain are quite there yet. Maybe next year. Maybe a lot of these things will change when it comes to next year. But at the moment, if the tournament took place when it should have, I feel like the Netherlands were really picking up steam. Okay, now that moves us on to the final of the Euros. It is Italy versus the Netherlands. Two teams, I'd admit, before I started, I hope they'd go kind of far. You know, two teams, like I've been saying, building back up, two former European, well, world football giants. Both been sleeping for quite a while. Now, it's crazy to think both of these teams didn't make the World Cup, and now I'm picking them to be the final for the Euros. But I genuinely feel that both of these teams have come on leaps and bounds since those failures to qualify for the last major tournament. So, this is the final we've got, and I'm going with the Netherlands as the Euro 2020 winners, lifting the trophy at Wembley Stadium. Now, do you agree? I'm sure a lot of you don't about many of these fixtures, but hey, it's a bit of fun. Just wanted to have a laugh, guys. The Euros ain't happening. At least it can in my head, I guess. I've enjoyed this. I hope you guys watching have enjoyed it as well. Please subscribe. We've got plenty more football content from our football culture show. Go hang in to our news and stuff like that. We've got a lot of football content at rebnoise.com and Rebellious Noise's YouTube channel. Follow us at RebNoise on all the social media platforms. And like I said, please subscribe. We've got more than just football as well. We cover other sport, we cover music, film and TV, and pop culture in general. So if you like stuff, subscribe and check out more of our content. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Let me know in the comments, who do you think would have won Euro 2020 if it happened when it's supposed to happen? Do you disagree with some of these certain matches? Do you have a point where you agree with me up until, and then you go, you know what? That final I would have changed. Or that semi-final wouldn't have gone that way. Let me know, guys. And once again, thank you for watching.